Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about an accessory that greatly enhances the portable nature of the Switch's home console experience, the Covert Dock from Genki. And real quick, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything happening with the channel. And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at this portable Switch dock. So I first became aware of Genki's Covert Dock after hearing about the issues people were having with a portable dock from Nyko that was apparently bricking Switches after Nintendo released Switch firmware 5.0. And at first, it wasn't exactly clear what was causing the problem, but later it was identified as a power delivery chip within the Switch itself that would fail when it received more than 6 volts. And apparently the Nyko dock did not include a power delivery controller to keep compliant with the Switch and was sending it 9 volts instead of the intended 6. So sorry to get a little technical on you right out of the gate, but it's important to note because Genki's Covert Dock was specifically engineered to be completely PD compliant, and Genki's engineers actually consulted directly with Nintendo during the Covert Dock's development. So I wanted to get that out of the way first, as I'm sure that's a question on a lot of people's minds when it comes to third-party docks. So no, this won't brick your Switch. And with all that out of the way, I want to go through all the other features of this impressive piece of hardware. So here is the dock itself. It's nice and tiny. And I actually have a standard Nintendo Switch power adapter here for comparison. And as you can see, the Covert Dock is actually smaller than the Nintendo Switch power brick. So Genki says this is 10 times smaller than the standard dock. So you are looking at a much more portable option to play on the TV. And the way it works, you've got your power plug here that flips down. You could simply charge your Switch with this if you wanted to, but then it also has an HDMI out and USB-C, as well as USB-A input, which is a nice included feature because you can use a Bluetooth adapter if you wanted to use a pair of Bluetooth headphones, or I don't know, maybe like an 8-bit do controller, you know, something that requires a USB dongle. So it's nice that that's included. You could also just use this to charge a USB-A device if you wanted to do that. So you simply plug this into a wall. You've got your HDMI cable that obviously goes directly to the TV or whatever HDMI device that you're going to be displaying the Switch on. And then the USB-C cable will go directly to the Switch. And of course, they've included that here. I like that they've included the right angle option to go into the Switch itself, which maybe would just make it a little easier if you're putting the Switch in a stand or something like that when you're using the Covert Dock. And then that's it. That's how you're going to display the Switch on the big screen. And another nice little feature, if you were looking at this as, you know, a travel option to bring your Switch with you when you're going on a trip, Genki has also included 3 power adapters. So you could use the Covert Dock pretty much anywhere in the world. And I could be getting this wrong, but I think this is the European adapter, the Chinese adapter, and then I believe this is Australia and maybe a few other regions. But, you know, obviously for North America and Japan, you will be covered with just the standard plug that's included here. And the way these work, it's kind of cool. You actually flip the prongs up, and then this attaches to the prongs like that. And there you go. So you could be using the dock on a trip to Europe. So really nice that those are all included as well. I guess just for peace of mind that you could use this thing pretty much anywhere. And then just kind of to talk about the things I like about this, I think its use case is very obvious, you know, for what it's trying to do. But beyond that, beyond being a really handy portable piece of hardware, I have to say when I first got it, I was really impressed by the overall build quality. And sure, this is just, you know, essentially going to be plugged into a wall, but I really appreciate just kind of how it looks and feels. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but the top part of the dock here features a semi-transparent kind of like smoke plastic, very similar to the standard Switch Pro controller. So it just kind of matches the Switch aesthetic, and it just looks really nice. All the edges here are really smooth, and it's got a really nice heft to it too. You can tell that there's just a ton packed into this little plug here. So it's just kind of pleasant to hold. Maybe that's a silly thing to like about this, but I definitely noticed it right when I was unpacking it. It just feels really premium. And it's a little bit unfortunate, but I actually picked up the dock, I believe it was like right at the end of 2019. And it just so happened in 2019, my wife and I were doing a ton of traveling. We were staying in a ton of hotels, and I really wish I had the Covert Dock. Maybe we could have played some Mario Party together or something on the TV in the hotel. It's just really nice to have that option. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have the dock during 2019, and then of course 2020 happened and I was doing far less traveling. So the dock hasn't gotten a ton of use for that reason, but I do think this also makes sense to kind of function as a second dock. Maybe you've got a monitor in another room, or maybe you've got some gameplay capture. You don't want to disconnect your full Switch dock, and you could hook this into an Elgato or some other capture device, or maybe you're doing streaming. I guess one little drawback of something like this is it doesn't serve as a dock, I guess, for the Switch itself. You won't obviously be able to set the Switch in it and have the screen protected like with the standard dock. You'll just kind of have to set the Switch down on its back. So that really is the only little drawback. I think Genki does make a little stand that you could get, you know, but obviously any kind of portable play stand would work. And I guess the only other limiting factor you'd have to consider is the distance between the nearest wall outlet and the length of your HDMI cable. But especially, you know, in a hotel, I think most of the time right next to the TV, you've got those outlets that are kind of right on top of the table next to the TV. So at least in my experience, the outlet hasn't been all that far away. So I feel like something like a 6-foot HDMI cable is pretty much going to cover you in any scenario. So I actually have my Switch case here that I use a lot when I'm on the go. So I pretty much always have my 6-foot HDMI cable up in the top pouch here. With that up there, the USB-C cable as well, of course. And then the dock easily fits in a case where you've got one of these like decent sized upper pouches. And then with that, you're kind of covered, you know, even if you're not planning on taking a trip and you're just kind of cruising around in the car, maybe you're gonna go out and see some friends, who knows what could pop up. You are pretty much covered to have the full screen Switch experience with your standard portable traveling case here. And of course you'll have your 2 Joy-Con attached to the Switch itself. So there you go. You could easily have 2-player Mario Kart or any other game that supports single Joy-Con play right there with you. And you don't have to look like a crazy person bringing like a whole bag of a ton of different cables and your dock and everything else. So I think that's really cool. Obviously it lends itself if you're planning a trip, but it's also easy to just kind of carry around in a standard case all the time. So I just kind of like the idea of being prepared. I've got a lot of friends who game, so it's nice to know that you've got all that stuff with you and you could easily set up if the opportunity presents itself. So I really think that covers it. There's not a ton more to say about it. If you are someone who is planning to get a second dock, like I said, I would just go with this one, because obviously then you have the capability of taking this with you portably. So if you wanted to pick this up for yourself, the dock goes for $64.99 on Genki's site, which is genkithings.com. Of course, I'll leave a link down in the description for you. I believe at the moment there is actually a bit of a wait list. I think this is sold out currently, but there's a notice on the website saying that things will be back in stock around April. So I think for everything that's included with the Covert Dock and the overall build quality, $64.99 is a very fair price. It's still cheaper than what a standalone Switch dock goes for, and you're getting far more functionality out of it. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Love this thing, can't wait to use it more. I haven't had any issues with it. I don't really have any way of testing input lag or any difference in picture quality either, but to my eyes when using the Covert Dock, I don't notice any difference than when using the standard one. So really, I think this is a very impressive little accessory. So I think that's gonna do it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like on your way out and also consider subscribing. And until the next video, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.